Hey everyone, we've updated our channel name from Chinese Novel Audio Wave to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Nothing else will be changing. We're still uploading a new video every day, bringing you the best Chinese novel audiobooks. Let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Nami picked up a copy of the diary. Just after crossing, he encountered celestial dragons. East Blue, Anton Lai Chamber of Commerce Cruises. A beautiful young girl with short, smooth orange shoulder-length hair took advantage of the time when people were gathering in the banquet hall. He quietly entered a room. After a while, when the young girl came out of the room again, there was already a big package in her hand. Then, the young girl quickly left the cruise ship and landed on the boat next to the cruise ship while people were not paying attention. And quickly drove the boat away from the cruise ship. Hee, another bumper harvest. Exchange these pearls and gold for berries. Words. Should be able to exchange for 3 million berry. In this way, we are one step closer to collecting 100 million berry. Nuo Chigao, everyone, wait for me. I will definitely redeem Kokoja village from the dragon pirates. The orange-haired girl, Nami, muttered to herself with a determined look in her eyes. Hey, what is this? Looks like a diary. Did I accidentally steal it from the cruise ship just now? Suddenly, Nami's eyes were fixed, and he stared blankly at the diary mixed with jewelry that was poured out of the package. Rosen's Voyage Diary, Nami copy. Wait, why is there my name? Nami's eyes widened, and he looked at the word, Nami, on the notebook in a panic. She didn't understand why there was her name in a notebook that randomly appeared in her package. She began to suspect when she stole the jewelry just now. In fact, someone found her. And this diary was stuffed into her package by this person named Rosen, when she was not paying attention. However, when Nami carefully checked the surroundings, she felt that such a guess was not correct. What happened? Couldn't this, Nami, mean me? It's just that I have the same name as someone. Nami muttered to himself, after making sure that no one was following his boat. She stretched out her slender arms and opened the Rosen's Voyage Diary, Nami version, in her hand. Rosen's Voyage Diary. See Circle Calendar June 15, 1520. Closing square bracket. I am Rosen, a time traveler. Closing square bracket. Today is really a special day. I didn't expect to come to this world. Closing square bracket. I really want to thank the ugly suspected mouse colonel and the hateful celestial dragons Shalulia Palace, for making me realize what world I have traveled to. Closing square bracket. Celestial dragons. Could it be a world noble and legendary? Also, traveler, why did the owner of the diary record it like this? Nami's small hands trembled, her eyes widened in surprise. Celestial dragons, they really are unreasonable guys. Closing square bracket. She ordered me to be killed simply because my ship was in the way of hers. Closing square bracket. The guy suspected of being Colonel Mouse really obeyed the order of Shalulia Palace and fired at me. Closing square bracket. Fortunately, the shells only smashed my ship, and did not cause any harm to me. Closing square bracket. Unfortunately, the notebook I brought over when I traveled was smashed. Closing square bracket. It can't be said that it's gone. The navigation log system I got now is transformed from a broken computer. Closing square bracket. Although it is a good thing to get the navigation diary system that can become stronger by writing a diary, but most of the various photos and notebooks in the computer are missing. Slowly drawn by hand. Closing square bracket. Speaking of this, I have to complain a few words. Obviously the library of the system keeps the portraits and notebooks of those beautiful women in this pirate world. Why didn't they include the portraits and notebooks of beautiful women in other worlds? Keep it. Closing square bracket. Could it be that because this world is the world of pirates, the library of the system only keeps the photos and notebooks of Nami, Noki Gao, Nico Robin, Kaya, Boa Hancock, etc. Closing square bracket. What's the meaning? Even Nuo Chigao's name appeared. Is this, Nami, really not referring to me? Also, what happened to the time traveler? Couldn't it be written by people who traveled from other worlds like the one in the novel? How is it possible? The guy who wrote the diary was joking, right? Nami frowned tightly. At the same time, because her and Nuo Chigao's names were mentioned in the diary, Nami gradually began to worry. Forget it. Those other photos and notebooks are gone. Closing square bracket. At least there are still photos and notebooks of Nami, Nuo Chigao, and Kaya. Closing square bracket. However, these things cannot be known by them. Closing square bracket. The photo is okay. If they see the book, they will tear me up, right? Closing square bracket. And the hero of these books is still me. Originally, I created Nami, Noki and others based on the characters in the manga story. Closing square bracket. I didn't expect that this world of pirates actually existed. It would be a little bad to create them again now. In other words, Blue Star's manga artist who draws the world of pirates must have accidentally learned about the world of pirates through some means, so he was able to draw manga of this world, right? Closing square bracket. What? I'm a comic book character. Are you kidding me? Nami's eyes widened to the maximum, staring straight at the relevant text in the diary. At this moment, she didn't even care about the photos, notebooks and other things mentioned in the diary. No, it must be a joke. No matter how you say it, it's impossible for such a thing to happen. After Nami took a few deep breaths to calm down his turbulent emotions, he continued to read the diary. That's all. Let's assume that the manga artist accidentally got information about this world. Closing square bracket. Since you have come here and obtained the system, you have to make a good appearance. Closing square bracket. Speaking of which, since I have drawn the portraits and notebooks of Nami, Nuo Chigao, Kaya, Boa Hancock, Yuta, etc., how about meeting them in real life? Closing square bracket. If possible, it would be nice to be able to partner with one of them, or some of them. Closing square bracket. After all, in this book, as the male protagonist, I married each of them and gave birth to many children, ahaha. Closing square bracket. Married. Have a baby. This guy, what are you writing about? And even have to form a partner with certain people first. How can there be such a good thing in the world? Nami chuckled, and suddenly wanted to see what it was like to be able to write such brash words. I am 190 centimeters tall, with a handsome face and a pleasant temperament. I should be worthy of the heroines in the photos and books. Closing square bracket. Wait, I remember that Nico Robin is 188 centimeters tall. If she wears high heels, she will be taller than me. Closing square bracket. And the Empress Hancock has a net height of 191 centimeters. Closing square bracket. In this way, am I not worthy of them in terms of height? Closing square bracket. So, I need to find a woman who is 170 centimeters tall like Nami. Closing square bracket. Wrong. Nico Robin and Boa Hancock should not be rejected by people because of their height. Closing square bracket. And I might grow taller in the future. Closing square bracket. This Nami, although has a good face and a good figure of 95, 55, 85. Closing square bracket. 2 years later, her figure was able to reach 98, 58, 88. Closing square bracket. But this woman is really greedy for money. Closing square bracket. And he is too wild, always giving benefits to other men suddenly from time to time. Closing square bracket. Such a woman doesn't seem to be very suitable to be a wife. Closing square bracket. So, do you want her to be my lover? Closing square bracket. Sure enough, if you want to marry a wife and have children, do you still need a woman like Kaya, Yuta, Boa Hancock or Nico Robin? Closing square bracket. Empress Hancock's body data should be 111, 61, 91, I should remember correctly. Closing square bracket. If such a woman can become a wife, then she will be blessed. Closing square bracket. It shouldn't be difficult to make Boa Hancock fall in love with me, if I can find a way to eliminate the imprint behind her. Closing square bracket. It must be able to attract her attention. Closing square bracket. Bah, who wants to be your lover? Seeing this, Nami smacked her mouth involuntarily. But soon, her expression changed, and she looked at her figure in shock. Why, even my physical data can be accurately written in the diary. The master who wrote the diary spied on me. Is what he said true? Did he really come from another world? At this moment, Nami's mouth could almost fit an entire egg. Wait, my future body data is also written in the diary. In other words, if Rosen is really a time traveler, he still knows about the future. Nami exclaimed. Chapter 2 Repay kindness with kindness and revenge with hatred, gain the power of Jiguo Yuan. Meanwhile, on the other side, the first half of the Grand Line. Amazon Lily. Here is the island known as the Daughter Island, located in the Calm Belt. At this moment, in the Nine Snake Palace, the Empress Hancock, the captain of the Nine Snake Pirates, is frowning as she looks at the Rosen's Voyage Diary Boa Hancock copy in her hand. In the diary, the height of the concubine's body is accurately written. Even the three-dimensional body of the concubine is accurately recorded. Could it be that the owner of the diary is really a time traveler? Boa Hancock murmured, his tone full of surprise and anger. She is confident that no one can spy on her under her observation hockey. You actually want to take a concubine as your wife? What a bold man. If I let the concubine know where you are, this concubine will definitely smash your corpse into thousands of pieces. The mark on the back. He knows what's behind this concubine. Hancock's eyes were wide open, looking at the copy of the diary in his hand in disbelief. Sister, what happened? At this time, Boya Sandersonia walked into the room and asked Hancock, who was exclaiming in doubt. Sandersonia, this. Hancock turned around, just about to tell his sister about Rosen's voyage diary. Suddenly, a great terror fell on Hancock's heart. It felt as if all she had to do was tell Rosen's voyage diary. She is bound to die. Sister, what are you going to say? Is there nothing on the desk? Sandersonia stepped forward, looked at Hancock, and then at where Hancock was staring. Can't you see, Sandersonia? Sister, I don't quite understand what you are talking about. It's okay, you step back first, Sandersonia, I need to be quiet. Okay, sister, you can call me anytime if you have anything. Although Sandersonia was puzzled, Hancock insisted. She also had no choice but to leave Hancock's room. Amazing diary. Strange man. Where is this guy? Hancock said, frowning tightly. At this moment, she has all sorts of doubts about Rosen and about the diary. If not, I don't know where Rosen is at the moment. She has chosen to order the Kuja pirates to find Rosen. After recovering slightly, Hancock turned to the next page of his diary. Empress Hancock's calm belt in the first half of the Grand Line. Closing square bracket. There is no way to see her now. Closing square bracket. Sure enough, now we still have to focus on getting revenge on the man suspected of being Colonel Mouse. Closing square bracket. Although he fired at me following the orders of celestial dragons, since he fired, he should have the consciousness to lose his life. Closing square bracket. Not only Colonel Mouse, but also the Palace of Celestial Dragons Cherulia, must take revenge on her. Closing square bracket. Repay kindness with kindness, revenge with revenge, this is the motto left to me by my parents when I was in Blue Star. Closing square bracket. It can be regarded as the only thing I brought into this world from my parents. Closing square bracket. However, this maxim cannot be waived. Closing square bracket. So, Celestial Dragons Shalulia Palace's hatred, I am determined. Closing square bracket. Hey, are you planning to take revenge on the Celestial Dragons? Although it's just recorded in the diary, it's still a bit masculine. Hancock sneered, but he didn't think that Rosen would seek revenge on the Celestial Dragons. After all, she herself is the same, and she has dreamed many times in her heart of revenge against the Celestial Dragons. However, due to the deterrence of the world government, she can only think about it in her heart. As for actual actions, she dared not start at all. Although Celestial Dragons has Marine Admiral behind them, if someone hurts Celestial Dragons, Marine Admiral will definitely be dispatched. Closing square bracket. However, I have the system to back it up, so I'm sure I'll become stronger soon. Even if it's Marine Admiral, I can have the power to compete with them in the future. Closing square bracket. Hehe, Cerulean Palace, you will regret firing at me. Closing square bracket. In terms of revenge, I pay attention to paying back 10 times, or even paying back 100 times. Closing square bracket. Repay 10 times, or 100 times. This man is really capable. Does he still want to capture the celestial dragons and torture them slowly? Hancock shook his head, feeling more and more that Rosen, who kept the diary, was joking. It would be too cheap to kill Cerulean Palace directly. Closing square bracket. Speaking of which, this Cerulean Palace is also considered beautiful. Closing square bracket. When the time comes, grab her and let her combine with me. Closing square bracket. Afterwards, it's unknown if celestial dragons will recognize her as a female celestial dragons defiled by mortals. Closing square bracket. Or, just get her pregnant. Closing square bracket. Click. Hancock was about to drink water, but what she saw suddenly caused her to accidentally crush the water glass. Make celestial dragons impregnated with mortal seeds. Hancock's body trembled, and deep down in his heart, he wanted to see such a picture. Once upon a time, the celestial dragons inflicted various punishments on the three sisters. Hancock would be the first to see the celestial dragons take a punishment they never wanted. Almost forgot, there was a male celestial dragons beside Cerulean Palace at that time, it should be called Saint Charmarco. Closing square bracket. This guy also gave orders to the accompanying marine. Closing square bracket. Decided. The punishment for female celestial dragons could tentatively be impregnating her with a human species. Closing square bracket. As for Saint Charmarco, he has to be cut into pieces and thrown into the sea to feed the fish. Closing square bracket. Quote. Hancock was silent for a while. If you can really do this, I can forgive you for recording the rude content. East blue. Above the vast ocean. While floating on the sea, Rosen used the power of the voyage diary system to record the voyage diary on the diary panel with his own consciousness. Damn celestial dragons. Fortunately, I can swim. Otherwise I'd be drowned before the fish eat me. It's a pity, the speedboat I rented at a high price. Before I had time to gallop in this sea world, I was ordered to be sunk by the celestial dragons. Rosen couldn't help feeling a pain in his heart when he thought of the speedboat he brought along with him when he traveled from Blue Star to Pirate World. Ding! Congratulations host, you have recorded enough content today, and the voyage diary system is officially open for you. Closing square bracket. Keep recording the diary every day, and you will get points. Closing square bracket. Points can be used for lottery. Rewards include Armament Hockey Awakening Potion, Observation Hockey Awakening Potion, Conqueror's Awakening Potion, Skills, Dimensional Character Templates, and so on. Closing square bracket. Congratulations, you have won the Novice Gift Package, Jiguo Yuan a template full body. Closing square bracket. Using this template, you will gain all the power, experience, skills, etc. of Jiguo Yuan. Closing square bracket. Finally, it worked. Now you don't have to worry about being drowned due to exhaustion. Or get eaten by passing sharks, sea kings. Rosen's heart was shocked by the sudden sound of heaven in his mind. Although when recording the diary, he acted very relaxed. But before receiving the reward, he was still a little worried about his own safety. After all, now, he is on the vast sea with no village in front of him and no shop behind. And even the speedboat, laptop, food, etc. brought by crossing are gone. It's impossible to say he wasn't nervous. Rosen shook his head, and after settling his mind, he used his own consciousness to touch the Jiguo Yuan template complete body on the panel in front of him. Then, an introduction video about the power of Jiguo Yuan appeared in front of Rosen. To be precise, it is the video of Jiguo Yuan using the Sun Breath Sword to kill the Ghost King Kiwusuji. It's really hockey. Thousands of knives were cut in an instant. Even in the high martial world of pirates, Jiguo Yuan's strength is not bad. The corners of Rosen's mouth raised slightly, and the template was ready to use. Soon, Rosen was enveloped by a ray of light. His system began to improve dramatically, and Rosen felt as if Butsuma had a flame enveloping him. After a while, Rosen opened his eyes again, and a ray of light burst out. At this time, Rosen is completely different from the previous Rosen. This is the power of Jiguo Yuan. Rosen muttered to himself, looked at the sun wheel knife issued by the system in his hand, and looked at his own face reflected on the sea. Jiguo Yuan's innate Madara pattern did not appear. It seems that only after I use the power of the Madara pattern will appear. The transparent world has not been activated directly. That's good, so I don't have to worry about looking at everyone as if I were looking at muscle or bone specimens. After carefully examining his own face and strength, Rosen nodded secretly. Now my strength is definitely more than enough to deal with Colonel Mouse. But there may be other masters around that celestial dragons. Having said that, I still have to go and have a look. I don't know if we can meet the fleet of celestial dragons now and in the past. Rosen glanced at the direction the celestial dragon's fleet had left. Because of the speed of the fleet, the celestial dragon's fleet has long since disappeared on the vast sea. Rosen took a deep breath, after recording his gains in the system's diary. He started to wave his hands quickly, and his body turned into an afterimage and swam towards the distance. At this time, Rosen didn't know that after he wrote the introduction video of Jiguo Yuan into his diary, it immediately caused a lot of consternation among women who had copies of the diary. Chapter 3 8,000 blows in an instant. Momoshiki Gion's surprise, ask for evaluation votes. Naval Headquarters. Women's Dormitory. Colonel Marine Hina and Naval Headquarters Ain are looking at the copy of the diary in front of them with serious faces at the moment. Rosen's Sailing Diary. Closing square bracket. Reward recording video, part of the skills of swordsman Jiguo Yuan. Closing square bracket. Sister Hina, how can I play this recorded video? In turned his head and looked at Hina beside him with some doubts. Hina doesn't know, but maybe just click the button in the center of the video to play it. Hina shook her head and said somewhat uncertainly. In nodded slightly when he heard the words, and then he and Hina clicked the play button in the center of the video screen. Soon, a light and shadow appeared in the copies of Ain and Hina's notes. Hina and Ain looked at the images on the video screen, and for no reason, they both realized the corresponding names of the characters appearing on the video screen. Wearing a red dress, holding a sharp knife, the man with the Madara pattern on his forehead is Jiguo Yuan. And in front of him, the one who was holding the head that could not be combined with the neck with his broken arms was Guiwu Sujimumi. I actually know their names. Wait, why is this ghost Wuji Suji still alive after being beheaded? Could it be that he is a devil fruit ability user? Ain's eyes widened, and he read in disbelief. Take a good look, Ain. That's how we learned about Rosen. Hina frowned slightly, and said with a serious face. Ain nodded immediately upon hearing this. After reading the previous diary records, both of them understand that the owner of the diary may have the ability to know the past and the future. And also have considerable dislike and hatred for marine and celestial dragons. If such a person does not deal with it well, it may have a serious impact on the world. What do you take your life for? Jiguo Yuan said to Guiwu Suji with a serious face, with a shadow on his face. Closing square bracket. Anami Suji gritted his teeth, looked at Jiguo Yuan in disbelief, and didn't answer his question. Closing square bracket. Seeing this, Jiguo Yuan had no intention of continuing the conversation with Guiwu Suji, and raised the sharp knife in his hand as he took a step forward. Closing square bracket. At this moment, Ghost Mai Suji's body suddenly exploded, turning into countless fragments and flying around. Closing square bracket. Through the world, Jiguo Yuan whispered in his heart, and the whole world suddenly slowed down. Closing square bracket. The same goes for the chunks of meat that fly out quickly in all directions. Closing square bracket. Not only that, at this moment, Jiguo Yuan can even see more pieces of meat behind him through the pieces of meat that are closer in front of him. Closing square bracket. The breath of the sun, the shape of the three. Jiguo Yuan whispered in his heart and recited silently in his heart. Closing square bracket. The next moment, the sharp blade in his hand immediately turned into an afterimage, stirring up bursts of scorching flames and waving towards the flying pieces of meat. Closing square bracket. Just in an instant, most of the pieces of meat were wiped out. Closing square bracket. Okay, so powerful, I can't see clearly at all. Ain opened his mouth wide and let out a sound of shock. When Jiguo Yuan recited, "Transparent world," silently, the video screen also entered a slow motion state. At that time, In could still see Jiguo Yuan's movements clearly. However, when Jiguo Yuan waved his sharp blade, the video screen entered the normal playback speed. At this time, in In's eyes, he could only see the afterimage of Jiguo Yuan. In addition, it is the scorching flame that almost overflows from the diary. Sister Hina, can you see clearly? How strong do you think this man named Jiguo Yuan will be? Ain looked at Hina and asked. Hina, can't see clearly either. Hina frowned tightly and said with a serious face. At this moment, a crisp voice rang in the ears of Hina and Ain along with the sound of pushing the door. At that moment, Jiguo Yuan swung the sharp blade thousands of times in succession. More than 1,500 quick meat slices were killed. Those smaller pieces of meat that were left escaped. In and Hina were startled, followed the sound, and found that the door was actually a Marine Admiral candidate, Guion known as Momoshige. Guion Vice Admiral, you have a diary too. In stood up and looked at the diary in front of Guion in surprise. Guion smiled and nodded, came to sit next to the two of them, and said with a smile. The diary suddenly appeared in front of me the previous day. And I can't mention it to other people, otherwise I feel that the horror of life and death will come to me. I just planned to see you, Hina, but I didn't expect you to be here, Ain. And, both of you have diaries. What's even more incredible is that we, who also have notebooks, seem to be able to refer to each other's diaries. And you can add friends. As Guion's voice fell, a reminder appeared in the diaries of In and Hina. It was detected that there is a copy of the sailing diary at a similar distance. Guion sent a friend request, do you agree? Closing square bracket. Chapter 4. The reason for getting a copy of the diary is because of the notebook. Ask for book rev. In and Hina have added friends to each other before. He also skillfully passed Guion's friend request. Is this adding friends? Also able to call through a copy of the diary. In the future, when there are other people around, we can communicate through the diary copy. Guion is very smart, and he quickly understood the new functions after adding friends. Great, Guion Vice Admiral also has a diary. I always feel a lot more relieved suddenly. Ain took a long breath and said. She was worried that she and Hina would not be able to take appropriate measures against Rosen. But Guion is different. Guion is very superb both in terms of its own strength and its status in Marine. As long as Guion is willing, she can even take the initiative to go to sea to search for Rosen. Guion Vice Admiral, you can actually see the words of the sharp blade wielded by Jiguo Yuan. Should be able to judge his strength. Do you think that if Rosen, the owner of the diary, really gets the power of Jiguo Yuan, how strong will he be? Hina looked at Guion and asked. Just through this short video, I can't give an accurate judgment. After all, Jiguo Yuan obviously still has spare strength. However, since he can strike thousands of times in an instant. Perhaps, he has the combat power of the Vice Admiral level of Naval Headquarters. Guion rested his chin on one hand and said with a light smile. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, In swallowed, and exclaimed. I'm not sure either. Maybe I overestimated him too much, and he didn't necessarily say so. After Guion smiled, his face became extremely serious again. However, if what the diary says is true, Rosen can gain great power so easily. And the words of a man who knows the past and future of our world. His threat will be very huge. Guion did not forget that Rosen wrote such arrogant words in his diary that he wanted to kill celestial dragons and impregnate celestial dragons. It is conceivable if Rosen gains more power in the future. He will definitely impact the ruling system of celestial dragons. Gion Vice Admiral, what are you going to do? This man named Rosen, we should take action. Hina said solemnly. Leave this matter to me for the time being. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. In my position, it is more convenient to travel to East Blue. And I can also deal with Rosen, who has the power of Jiguo Yuan. With a confident expression on Gion's face, she paused, then continued. If Rosen knew the past and the future, his value would be limitless. If only he could be stopped and joined the Marine before he commits his crimes. This may be a huge treasure for our Marine. So Hina, Ian, don't mention the arrogant words about celestial dragons that Rosen wrote in his diary for now. Hearing this, Ian and Hina looked at each other, both surprised that Gion still had the intention of pulling Rosen into Marine. But after a little thought, both of them nodded in approval. Rosen, what a strange man, and this copy of the diary is also quite strange. Gion Vice Admiral, what do you think is the reason the three of us were able to get a copy of the diary? Hina suddenly asked. That's a good question. Gion raised the corner of his mouth and smiled. However, before answering your question, can you answer my question first, Hina? Gion Vice Admiral, what do you want to ask? It's nothing, I just want to know if you can find your photo and notebook in the corresponding interface in the copy of your diary. Huh, photo, notebook. That's right. Gion nodded slightly, and showed a copy of his diary in front of Hina and Ain. Following her operation for a while, a brand new panel appeared in front of the two of them. In an instant, many different kinds of beautiful pictures of women appeared in the eyes of the two of them. In these pictures, women wear different clothes and pose in different poses. If there is anything in common among them, that is, the image of the two-dimensional woman in every beautiful picture is very similar to the image of the three-dimensional Gion next to Hina and Ain. Here, this is Gion Vice Admiral Yu. Hina opened her mouth and said in surprise. It should be me. You can try to operate like me in your copy of the diary. Gion said with a light smile. Seeing this, Hina and Ain refocused their attention on their diaries. After a while of operations, the two of them opened a panel similar to Gion's. However, the panels of the two are all pictures created based on their respective prototypes. It really is. From this point on, I probably understand why we have a copy of the diary. After Gion muttered thoughtfully, a teasing brilliance suddenly flashed in his eyes, and he said to Hina and Ain. Hina, Ain, why don't you keep scrolling down the interface? In addition to these exquisite pictures, there may be some comic strips based on you. After listening to Gion's words, Hina nodded. But just when she was about to turn down the page, the notebook mentioned in Rosen's diary suddenly sounded. For a moment, Hina seemed a little hesitant. However, Ain on the side didn't think much about it. She quickly pulled the page of her copy of the diary to a lower position. Immediately, some pictures that were equally exquisite but very astringent appeared in front of her eyes. What is this? Ain's eyes widened, and he looked in disbelief at the picture in front of him that described her making out with a man. Chapter 5 Ain reads his book by himself, Departure from Gion East Blue. Sure enough, there is such a picture in your copy of the diary. While Gion chuckled softly, he glanced at Hina with interest. Hina took a deep breath of the cigarette in her mouth, and turned off her copy of the diary without hesitation. Seeing this, Gion could only show a regretful expression. Gion Vice Admiral, I'm going to be mad. Ain pouted and looked at Gion with a blushing face. At this moment, she also understood that she was being teased by Gion. Hee, don't be angry, Ain. Otherwise, how about I also show you the book in my copy of the diary? Gion laughed. Who wants to see those things? Ain stomped his feet and said loudly shyly. Gion Vice Admiral, do you mean that? Because Rosen made these pictures of us. Is that why we got a copy of the journal? At this time, Hina suddenly asked. That's right. Gion nodded slightly, and said seriously. Although I don't know what the specific reason is, this is the answer I speculated. At the same time, in different copies of the diary, there are portraits and notebooks of different characters. In order to learn as much as possible about Rosen, I think we should share pictures from each other's diaries. After all, according to the things recorded in Rosen's diary, the hero Kakuzu in the book is himself. Maybe, we can learn more about Rosen from it. When Hina and Ain heard this, they instinctively wanted to refuse. After all, how can such a shy thing be shared with others? However, Gion didn't give the two of them time to react, and actually sent his pictures, notebooks, etc. to Hina and Ian directly through the friend interface. Hina and Ian stared blankly at the reminders in their respective diary copies, and then turned to look at Gion, who was full of smiles. At this moment, they knew that they could not escape. A moment later, in Hina's dormitory, bursts of sharp screams continued to come from the room. Ah, damn it, this Rosen dares to create such content. Absolutely, I will never let you go. Ian stood up straight, raised his fists, and shouted in shame and indignation. Beside her, Hina's face was slightly flushed, and the cigarette in her hand was trembling. Even if she didn't say anything, she was greatly shocked when she saw the scene depicted in the diary. Gion, on the contrary, looked at the book in the diary with interest. Hey, to be able to get along with such a scene. This man named Rosen has a big brain. I'm really curious if he will really ask us to have intimate contact with him as described in the book after he sees us. Gion laughed. Ain, Hina, ... The next day, the sky just cleared up. Gion boarded his marine warship while Hina and Ain watched. Needless to say, both of them understood that Gion was going to East Blue. Although Hina and Ain also want to go together. But Hina has a job on the Grand Line, and Ian also needs to follow Zephyr. Therefore, the two can only hope that Gion can find Rosen. Gion Vice Admiral, please find that man. With a serious face, Ain said solemnly to Gion. Ah, isn't our little Ain still shy? Actually, you don't have to care too much. The man just drew some comic strips. You didn't do anything bad to yourself. Gion said with a light smile. Even so, I can't forgive that man. He actually painted me like that. I wouldn't look so lewd. And the fact that he would make such a picture proves that he is not a good person. Gion Vice Admiral, let's not consider him a marine. Instead, just put him in Impel Down. Ain said angrily. After watching the book for myself, Hina and Gion. Ian had identified Rosen's character. Rosen is a man whose mind is full of women and full of rustling scenes. For such a man, Ain didn't have any affection. Gion shook his head and said with a smile. You can't say that. After all, that man created such a picture on the premise that we are comic characters. If he knew we were real, he wouldn't necessarily create. Maybe he'll be a nice guy. Those notebooks are mostly pictures that make people blush and heartbeat. However, the hero in this story is not a heinous villain. Although he is lustful, he is also a man who repays kindness. If Rosen is really the hero who brought himself into the book, perhaps Marine has given him some kindness, and he will become a good person under Marine's influence. After Gion finished speaking, Hina took up the conversation and said, the male protagonist not only repays kindness with kindness, but also revenge with revenge. For enemies, he shows no mercy. When dealing with some female enemies, the male protagonist will even use force. Gion Vice Admiral, that man mentioned in his diary that he wants to be a man who repays kindness with kindness and revenge with vengeance. He also said that he would treat that female celestial dragons. Hina is worried that Rosen will not give up that grudge. He's still tracking the celestial dragon's fleet, after all. Hearing this, Gion nodded and said, of course I know this. No matter what, let's find that man first. At this moment, the three of them suddenly felt a prompt from the copy of the diary in their bodies. Without hesitation, the three of Gion called out their copy of the diary in an instant. Chapter 6 Recognizing Karina, the so-called candidate wife. East Blue, on the pirate ship of the giant tiger pirates. Hi, are you okay? After Rosen recorded his battle with consciousness, He walked up to the only remaining woman on the pirate ship. No, don't kill me. I am not with the giant tiger pirates. I just got caught. The woman, Karina, put her hands in front of her body and gave Rosen a worried look. Don't worry, I didn't intend to kill you. I saw the situation where they were going to attack you before. By the way, what's your name? Rosen asked. My name is Karina. Huh, Karina. No. That's right, is there something wrong with my name? It's nothing, your name is very good, very nice. Yes, is it? Karina pursed her lips, looked at Rosen who was sizing her up and down, and directly classified Rosen into the category of people who were greedy for her body. HMPH, that's fine too. Single quote. Just use this guy to stay away from this sea area. Single quote. Calculating the time, the people led by treasure hunter Mad Trigger may be here soon. Single quote. After thinking about it, Karina deliberately staggered and threw herself into Rosen's arms. Benefactor, thank you for saving me. Although it would be embarrassing to say that. But can you help me again? Karina raised her head and looked directly into Rosen's eyes with bright eyes. What do you want me to do for you? I want you to take me out of this sea, someone is chasing me. Is that so? Is it the partner of these fallen pirates? No, it's someone stronger and more vicious than them. I see. Did you offend them in any way? I didn't offend them. They are human traffickers who want to sell me to the nobles to become a singer. Human trafficking. If I say, I am also very strong, and I can defeat the human traffickers you call. That's too risky. There happens to be a boat here. Let's just leave like this, please. Okay, now that you've said that. By the way, what do you do? Me, I'm just a singer singing in a hotel. Real. Then how did you come to the giant tiger pirates? I ran away from human traffickers, but soon after that I met the giant tiger pirates. I see. Well, I promise to take you out of this sea, but in exchange, you can sing a song for me. No problem, benefactor. Karina nodded, then adjusted her posture and began to sing slowly. The corners of Rosen's lips turned upward. Watching Karina's performance, he directly used the camera function of the system to take a perfect photo of Karina who was singing. Photo. Karina singing. Closing square bracket. It's funny to meet Karina here. Closing square bracket. I didn't even recognize it at first. Closing square bracket. Although this is also related to Karina's current dress, it is because there is a slight difference between Karina in reality and Karina in comics and animations. Closing square bracket. But that's okay, Karina is still pretty in the real world. Closing square bracket. Unexpectedly, the heroine in the first book I met in this world turned out to be her. Closing square bracket. And, she actually told me that she is a singer of common. Closing square bracket. Haha, she will never know, I am a time traveler, and I know her details quite well. Closing square bracket. A thief who is crisscrossing East Blue with Nami, a woman who relies on the wisdom of women to make a living on the sea, how could she be just a common singer? Closing square bracket. However, I have to say that Karina's singing voice is indeed quite powerful. Closing square bracket. It's no wonder that in the future she can become the ace singer of the Golden Emperor. Closing square bracket. It's a pity, this one is indeed a great thief who can partner with Nami, and he has almost escaped from Nami. Closing square bracket. In terms of the ranking of candidate wives, her position cannot be photographed at the forefront. Closing square bracket. After Rosen rested his chin on one hand and recorded in the diary, he began to clean up the pirate ship amidst Karina's singing. At the same time, Guillaume looked at Rosen's message and fell into deep thought. Didn't you recognize this girl named Karina in the first place? So, if I dress up, maybe Rosen won't recognize me. Guillaume murmured. Another plan to get in touch with Rosen came into his mind. Nami frowned slightly, and his eyes were fixed on the new content on the copy of the diary. This man Rosen actually knows that I used to partner with Karina. Does he really know the past and the future? And Karina, did she meet the treasure hunters again? Those guys really linger. No, you shouldn't worry about the treasure hunters now. Karina, you were recognized by Rosen. Nami took a long breath. At this moment she could only hope that Rosen would not hurt Karina. Chapter 7. Karina was completely stunned when she learned that Rosen was the owner of the diary. Seek. I have a grudge against marine and celestial dragons, so it is a foregone conclusion that I will become a pirate and form a pirate group. Closing square bracket. If you don't know that there is such an excellent singer as Yuta in this world, it would not be bad to invite Karina to be a singer. Closing square bracket. Even if Karina doesn't work as a singer in the pirates, she can still work as a thief. Closing square bracket. At that time, I can let her use her skills to go to other places to steal treasures for my pirate group. Closing square bracket. However, the premise is that the big thief is willing to be my partner. Closing square bracket. Inviting Karina is risky, and it would be bad if I accidentally let this one drive my pirate ship away like the Golden Emperor Tesoro's entertainment ship. Closing square bracket. Do you want to become a pirate if this is done? Nami frowned beautifully. However, since he has the idea of inviting Karina to be his partner, he probably won't do anything to her, right? Karina will take the Golden Emperor's ship. Is this something that happened in the future? Nami glanced at picture Karina singing again, and couldn't help but wonder about Karina's future. Similarly, she is also more and more curious about Rosen, who knows about Karina's future. Rosen, do you know my future too? I am in the future. Is there a scene of redeeming Kokoja village? Nami pursed her lips and said in a low voice. After Karina sang a song, Rosen had already emptied the corpses of the pirates. Similarly, the sails were also unfolded, allowing the pirate ship to sail forward with the help of the sea wind. As expected of Karina, the song she sings is really nice. As long as you are satisfied, benefactor. Of course I'm satisfied. I even have the idea of letting you stay by my side and become my singer, haha. If you can guarantee my safety, my benefactor, I am also willing to be your singer. Real, even if I want to form a pirate group. You saved my life. If you want to form a pirate group, then I can naturally join. Hehe, I am very touched. Since you have said so, then I will let you be my first partner, although I haven't had time to draw the pirate flag yet. If you don't mind, my benefactor, I can draw it for you. No, I'm a professional at drawing, so let me do the pirate flag myself. Okay then, benefactor. No, I should call you the captain now. Karina raised the corners of her mouth and said to Rosen with a smile on her face. In the Giant Tiger Pirates, there are many treasures brought by Karina and confiscated by the Giant Tiger Pirates. And now, these treasures naturally fell into the hands of Rosen, who killed the Giant Tiger Pirates. For these treasures, Karina did not give up. Since Rosen has the idea of making her a diva, then Karina naturally had the idea of taking the treasure back from Rosen by using her status as a singer. Captain, what a nice title. But Karina, in my mind, there is already a candidate for the position of diva. So, you may have another identity in my pirate group. Rosen laughed. Hey, Captain, do you think my singing skills are poor? No, your singing skills are very good. You are just the one in my mind. You are very suitable for the post of singer. So, can you tell me who she is? Her name is Yuta. Yuta, a name I've never heard of. Is it an acquaintance of yours, Captain? To some extent, they are indeed my acquaintances. The corners of Rosen's mouth turned up, and he answered Karina with a smile. Rosen wasn't too surprised that Karina didn't know Yuta's name. After all, Yuta really became famous 2 years later. It is indeed possible that the current Karina has not heard of Yuta's name. As for inviting Yuta to be the singer of the pirates, Rosen didn't just go for Yuta's singing skills. What's more, Rosen is going for Yuta's singing fruit. I really want to see you, Yuta, as the captain said. By the way, I don't know your name, Captain. Since we are all partners, can you tell me your name? Karina raised her hand to her lips, and said to Rosen with a cute expression. My name. Just call me Rosen. Rosen laughed. So that's it, it's called Rosen. Wait, Rosen. Karina widened her eyes and looked at Rosen in shock. Afterwards, she directly called out her own copy of the diary and began to look through it. Soon, Karina's expression became extremely weird. There was shock, and there was worry. What's the matter, Karina? Is there something weird about my name? Rosen looked at Karina's expression and asked strangely. Chapter 84 Emperor's red-haired Shanks unexpectedly has a daughter. Evaluation. No, nothing, Captain Rosen. My stomach hurts. I left first. Karina shook her head, and immediately turned and ran towards the cabin. While running, Karina was still looking at the contents of the copy of the diary. Ruined. Single quote. I should have thought of that. Single quote. When he dealt with the giant tiger pirates, he obviously used a sword technique entwined with flames. Single quote. He is using Jiguo Yuan's power. Single quote. What to do, he knows I'm lying. Single quote. Could it be that he's been acting with me all this time? Single quote. Thinking of this, Karina became more and more worried. At this time, she noticed that there was something new in the diary. Karina actually took the initiative to become my singer. Closing square bracket. Unfortunately, the singer in my mind is Yuta. Closing square bracket. Speaking of which, Karina doesn't really want to be my partner either. Closing square bracket. There is a high probability that she wants to secretly steal the treasure that already belongs to my giant tiger pirates. Closing square bracket. He knows. Is he really playing with me? Single quote. Karina's eyes widened, and she turned her head to look at Rosen nervously. Rosen noticed Karina's situation and responded with a big smile. Photo. Karina seems nervous. Closing square bracket. Karina looks a little nervous. Closing square bracket. So, is she already ready to make a plan to steal my treasure? Closing square bracket. Speaking of which, if she does this, she will have a grudge against me. Closing square bracket. If there is a grudge, it is not enough to punish it all at once. When Karina saw the contents of the diary, her body shook involuntarily. Immediately, she withdrew her gaze from Rosen, not daring to meet Rosen's gaze at all. The moment she saw Rosen's new photos, she knew that she had exposed herself to Rosen because of excessive nervousness and worry. Rosen's rule is to repay kindness with kindness and revenge with revenge. Single quote. So, if I really did steal the treasure, single quote, he will really punish me. Could it be that he will let me do the things described in my notebooks? Single quote. Thinking of this, a little blush appeared on Karina's face again. Apparently, even she is shy about the large scale that Rosen paints. In the final analysis, even though she has lived in the sea for many years, she is nothing more than an innocent girl. Calm down, Karina, things haven't gotten to that level yet. Single quote. Rosen can't seem to see the copy of the diary in my hand. Single quote. This is an opportunity. Single quote. As long as appropriate action can be taken based on the contents of Rosen's diary. Single quote. I won't be hostile to him. Single quote. At that time, he won't do anything excessive to me, right? Single quote. Wait, I cheated him like that just now, is it considered revenge? Single quote. Karina thought of this, and the emotions that had just calmed down gradually became tense again. Elegia ruins. Are you going to invite me to become a singer? It's a bit of a vision. However, I will never become the singer of the pirates again. Yuta sat on the ground, pouted angrily and looked at the copy of the diary in his hand. No wonder Yuta is so angry. After all, Rosen wrote about his intention to become a pirate in his diary. And not long ago, Yuta managed to find a photo and notebook created with her as the heroine in a copy of her diary. It's too much, with that kind of painting skills. Why did you draw such a picture? What a bad boy. Since he is a bad boy, he must be taught a lesson. Yuta pouted, and while speaking, he had already begun to form the idea of how to teach Rosen a lesson in his mind. But soon, her attention fell on the newly appeared content on the copy of the diary. However, it will take a lot of effort to invite Yuta to become the singer of the pirates. Closing square bracket. Right now, she should still be at the stage where she really hates pirates. Closing square bracket. It's no wonder, after all, that her father, the red-haired Shanks of the Four Emperors, abandoned her when she was little. Closing square bracket. However, even if the red-haired Shanks has broken contact with Yuta now, if you want to invite Yuta to be a partner, you still have to pass the red-haired Shanks. Closing square bracket. He actually knows this. Sure enough, does he know the past? Yuta's eyes widened, paying more and more attention to the copy of the diary floating in front of him. Gion frowned, and looked at the copy of the diary in front of him in disbelief. Redhead Shanks has a daughter. And abandoned her. Why exactly? As a member of Marine, Gion fully understands what it means to be a red-haired Shanks. If Yuta is really the daughter of the redhead, and Rosen happened to invite Yuta to be a partner, then her idea of inviting Rosen to join the Marine may have to fall through the cracks. Not only that, but the strength of the red-haired Shanks will also be qualitatively strengthened. No matter what, Rosen and the red hair pirates cannot be associated. Gion looked firmly into the distance of the sea. Chapter 9 The reason for the destruction of the City of Music, poor Yuta. Speaking of which, it's not without reason that Shanks the redhead would leave Yuta behind. Closing square bracket. After all, she had accidentally done that. Closing square bracket. However, even so, it would be inappropriate for Shanks the redhead to make decisions for Yuta without asking Yuta's opinion. Closing square bracket. If I were, I could have helped Yuta take on that when she was young. Closing square bracket. When she grows up, I will make it easy for her to bear it together. Closing square bracket. That incident will definitely not be the reason for me to separate from Yuta. Closing square bracket. Just kidding, as an old father, how could he abandon his daughter? Closing square bracket. Wait, how did I substitute Yuta for my daughter? Closing square bracket. This is not okay. If you want to substitute, you should also bring Yuta into the identity of your wife. Closing square bracket. Can sing and dance, gentle and kind, except for the fact that he doesn't know the truth, Yuta is full of advantages. Closing square bracket. Such a woman is definitely an excellent candidate for a wife. Closing square bracket. Bah, who wants to be your wife? Yuta gave a coquettish cry, scolding Rosen for being shameless in his heart. But Shanks dumped me because I accidentally did something. Yuta looked at the message that appeared on the copy of the diary, and frowned tightly. She carefully recalled the memories with Shanks, but she didn't think of anything worth Shanks leaving her. What the hell is going on? This Rosen, can't you explain clearly? Yuta read in a low voice, pouted angrily and looked at the copy of the diary. Take a note in case you forget about Yuta later. Closing square bracket. When Yuta was young, he followed the red hair pirates to Elegia, the capital of music. Closing square bracket. There, Yuta's devil fruit got out of control and destroyed Elegia. Closing square bracket. The red-haired Shanks took the initiative to destroy Elegia in order not to make Yuta blame himself. Closing square bracket. At the same time, Shanks thought of Yuta's musical talent and handed her over to a musician in the village of Elegiason for training. Closing square bracket. Shanks tried to use this method to make Yuta live as normal a life as possible. Closing square bracket. What? I destroyed Elegia. Yuta's eyes widened and he stood up in horror. In her memory, it was the red-haired Shanks who destroyed Elegia and took Elegia's treasure. This is completely different from what was recorded in Rosen's diary. Yuta, how do you know that you destroyed Elegia? At this time, a voice that Yuta was very familiar with sounded behind her. Yuta looked back and saw that the person who came was the survivor of Elegia, and it was also Gordon who had given him music tutoring for so many years. Gordon, you mean, it's really Elegia that I destroyed? Huh, no. Nothing, you misheard, Yuta. I heard you right. You clearly said that I destroyed Elegia. Gordon, tell me, do you know something? Yuta, I can't understand what you're talking about. Gordon turned his head away, not daring to meet Yuta's eyes. Just because he heard Yuta's words, he couldn't recognize the words for a moment. However, seeing that Yuta is not sure now, Gordon naturally dare not say anything more. Yuta took a deep look at Gordon, thinking of what Rosen wrote in her diary. She said to Gordon, "Gordon, it was my devil fruit ability that got out of control, that's why Elegia was destroyed. After Shanks they were trying to make me feel less guilty. That's why he claims to have destroyed Elegia, right? What's more, they handed me over to you to train me to become a famous singer, right?" Gordon couldn't help but take 2 steps back when he heard this. He never thought that Yuta would explain the matter in such detail. "You don't have to lie to me, Gordon. Just now, I have recalled it." Yuta took a deep breath, pursed his lips and said to Gordon. Hearing this, Gordon let out a long breath. After a long time, he spoke to Yuta and said, "Sure enough, has this day come yet? Yuta, what happened to Elegia was not your fault. It's all my fault. If I can destroy the score that can summon the devil, you will not be used by the devil." Yuta's eyes were wide open, and his legs softened and he sat directly on the ground. "So, it's all true," Yuta murmured. She naturally didn't recall what happened to Zheng Jin. She just wanted to say something about Gordon. And through Gordon's reaction, Yuta also got the answer. At this time, Yuta also completely believed that Rosen was a time traveler, and believed that Rosen knew the past and the future. "Gordon, can you tell me what happened that night in detail?" With tears in his eyes, Yuta said to Gordon pitifully but firmly. Gordon frowned. He didn't want to talk to Yuta about this. But looking at Yuta's firm eyes and thinking about Yuta has brought back many things in the past. Gordon also had no choice but to briefly talk about the fact that Yuta's song fruit ability lost control that night. Chapter 10 Countdown to Uta's death. Determined to go to sea to find Rosen's Yuta. Seeking. Grand Line, first half. A marine warship is sailing towards the calm belt at breakneck speed. Attempt to reach the East Blue directly via the calm belt. On the bow of the marine warship, Guion was looking at the copy of the diary in front of him with great interest. One wife on the left, one wife on the right. The man Rosen seems to be very satisfied with Yuta. Sure enough, Yuta and Rosen must be prevented from meeting. Guion rubbed his chin and muttered to himself. However, according to Rosen, Elegia was not destroyed by the red hair pirates. But it was destroyed by Yuta. At that time, Yuta was still very young. What the hell did she eat devil fruit? It was able to do that after getting out of control. At this moment, Guion frowned tightly. You know, Yuta's fruit ability destroyed Elegia under the nose of the red hair pirates. Even the red hair pirates were not as strong as they are now. But in Guion's heart, the danger level of Yuta devil fruit has risen to a terrifying height. At the same time, Guion also expects Rosen to record Yuta's devil fruit ability in this copy of the diary. It's just a pity that she didn't wait for this result after all. That guy Shanks thinks he's soft, but doesn't realize how big a hole this will leave in Yuta's heart. Closing square bracket. If Shanks could have taken Yuta and guided her well, Yuta would not have died at the age of 21. Closing square bracket. It's such a pity that such a lovely girl died in such a beautiful age. Closing square bracket. For that, the guy with the red hair Shanks is unforgivably sinful. Closing square bracket. Yuta will die, and still died at 21. Did something happen in the middle? Guion opened his eyes slightly, and said incredulously. Meanwhile, on the other side, where Yuta is. I'm going to die at 21. Are you kidding me? Yuta stood up in horror and said in disbelief. Huh, what's wrong with you, Yuta? How can you die at the age of 21? You're still young. Gordon frowned when he saw Yuta's appearance. He also thought that Yuta had mental problems because he couldn't bear the true thoughts he told. Yuta looked at Gordon tangled, but finally shook his head. It's nothing, Gordon, I'm nothing. Although she wanted to tell Gordon about the copy of the diary. But every time I do this, the feeling of palpitation as if death is about to come will appear. In the face of the horror of life and death, Yuta did not dare to speak out about the copy of the diary. I'm 19 now. Single quote. In just over a year, I'll be 21. Single quote. So, I only have 2 years or so to live. Single quote. Damn, how could I accept such a result? Single quote. Yuta sat on the grass, his fists barely clenched. At this moment, there was new content on the copy of the diary. This Voyage Diary system, since it can still intercept the contents of the manga and animation of One Piece world in my memory. Closing square bracket. It's quite humane. Closing square bracket. Image. Yuta's casket. Closing square bracket. What happened to Yuta in the picture above? I hope it doesn't happen to Yuta in the real world. Closing square bracket. My coffin. Single quote. Yuta stared wide-eyed, resisting the fear in his heart, and clicked on the picture uploaded by Rosen. In the picture, a group of red hair pirates are gathered together, and the coffin in the middle is covered with white cloth. Yuta's heart jumped, although she couldn't see the specific face of the person under the white cloth. But through the conspicuous hair, Yuta can understand that under the coffin is himself. Even Rosen just intercepted the picture of One Piece animation in memory. But Yuta has a feeling that this is his real future. Will I really die? Single quote. But why? Single quote. Obviously my singing voice has just been recognized by everyone. Single quote. Obviously I still want to use my singing to create a new era. Single quote. No, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. Single quote. Yuta put his head in his hands and shook vigorously. As if this can dispel the shadow of death. However, such behavior has no effect at all. Seeing Yuta's behavior, Gordon became more and more worried about her. But at this moment, he doesn't know how to comfort Yuta. So, he could only watch anxiously from the sidelines, generally racking his brains to think about how to persuade Yuta. Just when he finally thought of words that might be able to persuade Yuta, Yuta suddenly became quiet again. Yuta, are you alright? Gordon blinked and asked curiously. I'm fine, Gordon. Sorry for worrying you. Don't worry, I'm fine. Yuta stood up and gave Gordon a big smile. Hearing this, Gordon breathed a sigh of relief. Redhead Shanks let him take care of Yuta. If Yuta suddenly had a nervous breakdown, Gordon didn't know how to explain to the red-haired Shanks. Gordon, I have something to discuss with you. I'm leaving Elegia, Yuta said. What? Why? When Gordon heard this, he couldn't help but exclaimed. I am going to find a man. A man named Rosen. The corners of Yuta's mouth raised slightly, and he said with a light smile. ... Chapter 11 Lottery, Yay Maiko's template. Now that Rosen knew she would end her life at 21. Then Rosen must have known why she was coming to an end. As long as the cause of death can be known, maybe it can prevent death from coming. This is what Yuta is thinking at the moment. Even if she continues to stay in Elegia, she may be able to learn the cause of her death from Rosen's diary. But Yuta can no longer wait quietly. Gordon looked at Yuta's appearance, although he wanted to stop it. But after all, it was not possible to keep Yuta. Perhaps, going out for a trip can also benefit Yuta's growth. With this in mind, Gordon and Yuta made preparations to go to sea together. ... East Blue. Ding. Today's diary has obtained enough lucky draw points. Closing square bracket. If you continue to record today, you will not be able to continue to earn points. Closing square bracket. You already have 100 points, you can draw a lottery. Closing square bracket. Remarks. 100 points can only be used for the lowest level lottery draw. The probability of winning excellent rewards is low, and the probability of obtaining general rewards is high. Closing square bracket. Closing square bracket. Is that enough? Hearing the prompt in his mind, Rosen stopped planning to continue recording the diary. His attention has already come to the lottery draw. The lowest level of the lottery. Observation Hockey Awakening Potion, Armament Hockey Awakening Potion, these are also included in the low-level rewards. Single quote. High-level rewards, does it include templates for characters from the heavens? Single quote. Although the template of the characters in the heavens is good, even if I spend more points to draw a high-level lottery, I may not be able to win it. Single quote. On the contrary, now I should be more able to win the abilities of armament hockey and observation hockey. Single quote. Rosen rested his chin on one hand, thinking in his heart. He didn't forget that not long ago, because he didn't have observation hockey, he couldn't chase Colonel Mouse, celestial dragons and others. Armament hockey, also very important. Even though he now has the powerful swordsmanship of Jiguo Yuan, there is no such thing as armament hockey. When facing the Logia fruit ability user, he will also fall behind in many ways. System, let's conduct a first-level lottery draw. Single quote. Ding! The lottery draw begins. As the reminder sounded in Rosen's mind, a lottery panel appeared directly in front of him. The lottery draw is over. Congratulations to host for winning that Ye Miko template primary edition. Can this make me win the template? And it's still the template of Ye Shenzi. Rosen raised his eyebrows and said it in disbelief. Ye Kamiko, that is a popular figure in the game Original God. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. She is the great maiden in charge of Narugami Taisha and the continuation of the Blood of the Fox. As a member of Lei Movie, Ye Shenzi is naturally very powerful. If Rosen really had to evaluate it, the power of Ye Shenzi is much stronger than Jiguo Yuan. But, is it only the primary version? It should be quite different from the full-body template I obtained. Rosen raised his eyebrows, and focused his attention on the newly obtained character template. After a while, Rosen figured out the difference between the primary version of the character template and the full version. The full version of the character template, when others obtain it, they can inherit all the power of the character template, including weapons. Even a weak person can instantly become stronger by obtaining a character template. As for the primary version of the character template, the user can only acquire skills when he owns it, and cannot gain very powerful power in one step. As for how much experience and skills can be obtained, this is linked to the own strength of the person who obtains the character template. If the person concerned is strong enough, he may be able to master all the power and skills of the character template at the moment of obtaining the primary version of the character template. However, although you can't get all the power of Ye Shenzi, he was able to obtain the blood and talent of the Ye Sun. Those who have obtained this kind of blood and talent and use the template will get twice the result with half the effort in their future practice. However, I can't use this template. Didn't I draw this lottery for nothing? Rosen twitched the corners of his mouth fiercely as he looked at the terms of use of the character template of Ye Kamito. Remarks. To use the Eightfold God-Child template primary body requires the user to have at least 3 of the following attributes: female, fox, pink, witch, wisdom, and beauty. Closing square bracket. Host's current personal attributes do not meet the potential of using the Eightfold God-Child template primary body. Closing square bracket. Suggestion: you can give this template to others. Closing square bracket. Let me give the rewards I have drawn to other people. Single quote. If that person flees after getting the reward, then wouldn't I have gained nothing? Single quote. Seeing this, Rosen couldn't help but be overwhelmed in his heart. The system seemed to hear Rosen's voice. Soon, new words appeared on the system panel in front of Rosen. If the person who was given the template accepts the template sincerely, after accepting the template, Ta will not be able to betray the host. Closing square bracket. If you insist on betraying, Ta will lose the template and lose the power obtained through the template. Closing square bracket. In addition, the host as the system owner will be able to use the template through Ta. Closing square bracket. There is such a good thing. Rosen opened his eyes slightly, watching the explanation more carefully. So that's the case, the person who gets the template in the system's identification is considered my partner. And the way I use the templates from my buddies is by merging with them. And after merging, I can even forcibly use some powerful skills through the authority of the system. It's just that after using it, the combined state may be released instantly. And my physical strength, and the physical strength of the person who fits with me may also be exhausted together. Chapter 12 Karina who conforms to the template of Son of God. Karina was influenced. This man, Just let me wander around in the cabin at will. Single quote. Aren't you on guard against me at all? Single quote. Or, he is really waiting for me to steal the treasure. Single quote. And give me some punishment. Single quote. Karina looked at Rosen's back from a distance with the entrance of the cabin in her hand. Her brows were tightly knit together. Karina also saw Rosen's recorded diary. If it was said that she still had the idea of taking the treasure away from Rosen. Now, this idea will be much smaller. After all, Rosen had already recognized her identity. In front of Rosen, she is no longer an ordinary singer who was captured by a pirate ship. Do you know the future? This man said earlier that I can drive away the Golden Emperor's ship. Single quote. That said, I'm definitely not going to stumble here. Single quote. Come on Karina, you will be able to rely on your own wisdom to get through this crisis. Single quote. Karina cheered herself up, and walked towards Rosen with the fruit plate prepared in the kitchen. Captain Rosen, would you like some fruit? Karina raised the corners of her mouth and said with a light smile. At this moment, her expression was as indifferent as before, and she was completely free from the previous panic. It would be nice to have some fruit. Thanks, Karen. Rosen nodded slightly, reaching out to pick up a grape on the fruit plate. Let me do it, Captain Rosen. With a smile on her face, Karina picked up the grapes on the fruit plate and handed them to Rosen's mouth. Seeing this, Rosen was not polite, and swallowed the grapes Karina handed over with a smile. Rosen knew that Karina was acting, and Karina knew that Rosen knew the history of this world. But neither of them meant to break the balance. In this way, you chatted with me sentence by sentence. Of course, Karina is not just chatting with Rosen. She wanted to chat to see if the diary that miraculously appeared in front of her eyes was given to her by Rosen. But after a series of hints, even after taking out a copy of his diary in front of Rosen, Karina gradually had an answer in her heart. The copy of my diary should be quite related to Rosen. Single quote. But he himself did not offer to give me a copy of the diary. Single quote. So, is it really the magical system that automatically issued it to me? Single quote. But why does the system do this? Single quote. It can't be because of those photos and notebooks created by Rosen, right? Single quote. While continuing to feed Rosen grapes, Karina thought to herself. However, she couldn't ask Rosen such a question. He could only secretly suppress the doubts in his heart. Anyway, Rosen doesn't seem to know that I'm able to see what he's writing in his diary. Single quote. Perhaps I can use this to get a chance to escape, and even get a chance to take the treasure. Single quote. But, really, do you just leave like this? Single quote. This man has the system and knows the future. Single quote. Following him, maybe I can also get considerable benefits. Single quote. Thinking of this, Karina couldn't help feeling a little more doubtful. While Karina was thinking, Rosen was not idle either. He looked Karina up and down, comparing her to the Ye Miko template in his mind. Users who want to use Ye Miko's template normally need to have attributes such as woman, pink, wisdom, fox, witch, charm, thunder, and light novel. 3. Single quote. Karina's words naturally have the attributes of a female. Single quote. In terms of mind, it is also quite intelligent. Single quote. In the original book, Nami always called Karina a female fox. Single quote. So Karina can be regarded as possessing the attributes of a fox. Single quote. So, Karina can use Ye Miko's template, right? Single quote. Ding. Scanned character for host, Karina. Closing square bracket. Karina conforms to attributes such as woman, fox, and wisdom, and can use the Eightfold Godchild template primary body. Closing square bracket. If Karina is willing to become the host's partner, you can use the Eightfold Godchild template primary body on her. Closing square bracket. Good. Single quote. Seeing the first message on the panel, Rosen smiled even more. Captain Rosen, did you think of something beautiful? Seeing Rosen's expression, Karina asked Rosen after confirming that there was no new content on the copy of the diary. Hee, I did think of some beautiful things. Speaking of which, Karina, you said earlier that you would like to be my partner, right? Rosen pulled Karina to sit cross-legged on the deck, and asked with a chuckle. Of course I would. Karina nodded emphatically. However, she thought that Rosen knew her identity, and hurriedly continued. Captain Rosen, I once had a not-so-beautiful past. Maybe you think I joined too casually. But after being rescued by you, I don't want to live the life I used to. So, I really want to be your partner. After Karina finished speaking, she put down the fruit plate in her hand, and stretched out her hands to hold Rosen's left hand in her palm. At this moment, Karina's eyes are so clear and beautiful. Although continuing to record today will no longer reward points, some things can still be recorded in the voyage diary. Closing square bracket. Photo. Sincerely Karina. Closing square bracket. Karina said that she had a not-so-good past. Is she talking about the days when she cheated? Closing square bracket. He also said that he was tired of the past life, because he was rescued by me, so he wanted to join me sincerely. Closing square bracket. So, she was influenced by me. Closing square bracket. Successful. Single quote. As long as Rosen believes me to be sincere. Single quote. He won't blame me for not revealing my true identity earlier. Single quote. Perhaps, he will lower his vigilance towards me. Single quote. Give me a chance to leave with the treasure. Single quote. Karina was overjoyed when she saw the new words appearing on the copy of the diary. However, when thinking about leaving, Karina's eyes flickered with hesitation. At the same time, after seeing Rosen's message, Nami in the distance couldn't help but whispered a bitch to Karina in her heart. Chapter 13 Karina became a maid. Karina's reverse knee pillow, seeking data. System, can I give Karina the template of Ye Miko? Single quote. Hint, the template cannot be given to Karina at the moment. Closing square bracket. Man, that means Karina doesn't really mean to be my partner. Single quote. While muttering in his heart, Rosen shook his head and said to Karina. Thank you for your sincerity, Karina. By the way, do you know how to sail? Karina nodded and said, to be honest, Captain Rosen. I'm quite confident in my navigation skills. Since you don't want me to be the singer of the pirates, I can be your navigator. After finishing speaking, Karina specially showed a big smile to Rosen. A navigator, unfortunately, I also have an excellent candidate for a navigator. There are also candidates for the navigator. That's right, maybe you know my candidate too. How could it be? There can't be such a coincidence in the world. Karina smiled shyly. However, after thinking that Rosen knew the historical trajectory of this world, Karina felt that what Rosen said was not impossible. Since Rosen wants to recruit the most excellent singer, when it comes to recruiting navigators, he will inevitably choose the most excellent navigator in his memory. Thinking of this, Karina couldn't help thinking about the excellent navigator she knew. A person with excellent navigation skills. Rosen is talking about Nami, right? Single quote. Since Rosen knows me, she must know Nami too. Single quote. However, Nami's navigation skills may not be better than mine. Single quote. Karina thought to herself. Well, Captain Rosen, you don't want me to be a singer, and you don't want me to be a navigator. Then what position should I take in your pirate group? Karina pursed her lips and said to Rosen with an aggrieved expression. Why don't you be my maid, Karina? After all, you seem to be quite good at taking care of people. Rosen smiled and pointed to the fruit that Karina handed to him. Maid, Captain Rosen, you really are a person who enjoys it. Karina couldn't help but twitch the corners of her mouth. Hearing the word, maid, she couldn't help but think of the book drawn by Rosen, in which she was dressed in a maid uniform and knelt in front of Rosen to help him. In an instant, Karina's face flushed a little more. HMPH, you actually drew me like that. Single quote. Then don't blame me for stealing your treasure. Single quote. Karina snorted coldly in her heart, slowly firming up the idea of leaving Rosen's side. Of course, there was no dissatisfaction on her face. Instead, he pretended to be shy and said to Rosen, "Now that I'm Captain Rosen, your maid. Then let me do what a maid should do. Captain Rosen, how about lying on my lap?" While talking, Karina put down the fruit plate and knelt down in front of Rosen, and patted her round thighs under the short skirt. "Then I won't be polite." The corner of Rosen's mouth raised, and he agreed without hesitation. He knew that Karina was acting, but since Karina took the initiative to give benefits, there was no reason for him not to accept. In an instant, Rosen fell down, burying his face in Karina's lap pillow from the side. Well, Captain Rosen, did you go the wrong way? For a knee pillow, shouldn't the back of the head be down?" Karina felt Rosen's breath on her skin, and couldn't help twitching the corner of her mouth again. She had seen such a scene in her notebook. And in the follow-up plot of this book, it is time for her to be shy because of Rosen's behavior and slowly commit herself to Rosen. In an instant, Karina's face flushed again. Also, there is a tinge of worry. She worried that Rosen would really continue to follow the plot of the book. In that case, she might not be able to resist Rosen. "In my hometown, knee pillows look like this," Rosen said in a muffled voice. "This, all right." Karina heard the same conversation as in the book, and quickly changed the subject and said, "Captain Rosen, you asked me earlier if I knew how to sail. Are you planning to go somewhere?" "That's right. I do have places I want to go, but before I go there, I want to go to a nearby town first." "A nearby town? I don't know much about navigation, and I don't know much about nautical charts here, so it's up to you, Karina." "I see. I'll help Captain Rosen get you to a nearby town." A brilliance flashed in Karina's eyes, and she was already planning how to get rid of Rosen after arriving in a nearby town. Now, she was really worried that if she stayed by Rosen's side, the things in the book would actually happen. At this moment, she once again received a reminder from the copy of the diary. "This guy, what are you recording again?" Single quote. "Wait, why don't you upload my current photo?" Single quote. After looking at Rosen, who was still buried in her lap, she quickly opened her copy of the diary. "Here, it's really uploaded." Single quote. Karina looked at the picture of her smiling as a pillow for Rosen's lap, and almost couldn't resist pushing Rosen away. Photo. Karina's lap pillow. Closing square bracket. Unexpectedly, the things that appeared in Karina's book happened in reality. Closing square bracket. Karina's knee pillow, pretty good. Closing square bracket. The white thigh skin seems to be able to reflect sunlight. Closing square bracket. Put your head down, and feel the flesh on the thigh slowly sinking from a close distance, which is enough to describe it as pleasure. Closing square bracket. This makes me start to look forward to some subsequent plots in the book. Closing square bracket. Seeing this, Karina's body couldn't help shaking violently. Chapter 14 Yuta Goes to Sea, Demonstration Video of Ye Shenzi, Seeking Data. "This guy, he was still calling me my wife or something. Are you actually looking forward to what happened in the book with someone else? Damn man, how many people's notebooks have you drawn?" Yuta stomped, blushing looking at the photo of Rosen buried in Karina's lap in the diary copy. Yuta is no stranger to such scenes. After all, there are similar pictures in her notebook. "Yuta, are you talking to me?" "Sorry, I didn't hear clearly just now." Gordon popped up from afar and asked Yuta suspiciously. "No. Nothing, Gordon. I was just talking to myself." Yuta waved his hands repeatedly and said to Gordon. "That's it." Gordon nodded. "Yuta, everything has been tidied up, let's go now." "Okay, Gordon." "Yuta, where do we go first?" "East Blue." Well, do you have a specific address?" "Have no idea." If we don't know the exact address, where should we look for it?" "Although I don't know now, maybe I will know after a while." "Okay." Gordon shook his head. "In that case, let's go to the nearest town first." "Yes, Mr. Gordon." Yuta gave a big smile. However, the smile immediately changed to an angry expression after she turned her head and once again focused on the photo of Karina's lap pillow. "Porn man, Just wait, I will definitely find you soon. Single quote. Hatch. Rosen sneezed loudly. Hit by Rosen's sneeze, Karina's body shook again. Strange, who is scolding me? Why do I suddenly feel cold? Rosen reached across Karina's thigh and rubbed his nose, a slightly puzzled look on his face. Sorry, Karina, I didn't sneeze on purpose. By the way, your body has been shaking since before, is it uncomfortable? Rosen felt the shaking of Karina's body and asked. It's nothing, Captain Rosen, I'm fine. Maybe, it's a little cold. Karina took a deep breath and quickly stabilized her emotions and body. That's it. Is it still cold like this? Rosen replied, the breath of the sun is working in the body. Gradually, Rosen's body began to heat up. Karina, who was approaching, also immediately felt a scorching breath coming from Rosen's body. Especially her two thighs felt particularly deep. All right, Captain Rosen. I'm not cold anymore. Seeing this, Karina said quickly. She knew that Rosen could use the power of fire. She was afraid that Rosen would accidentally set her on fire at close range. Learn, Rosen replied, and then continued to focus on his diary. Karina's knee pillow is really good, but she is still lying to me. Closing square bracket. In her heart, she didn't really intend to join me. Closing square bracket. Sure enough, Yae Miko's template still has to be handed over to other people to use. Closing square bracket. If I give it to Yuta, she shouldn't die. Closing square bracket. It would be even better if she could marry me because of Yae Miko's template, ha ha ha. Closing square bracket. Speaking of which, Hancock is a perfect match for Yae Miko in terms of charm. I don't know if she can adapt to Yae Miko's template. Closing square bracket. If she takes over the template of Yae Shenzi with her Shichibukai power, maybe she can fully display the power of Yae Shenzi. Closing square bracket. Video. Yae Miko shows PV. Closing square bracket. In the distance, Yuta cursed secretly when he saw the contents of Rosen's diary. At the same time, she was also curious about the template of Yae Shenzi mentioned by Rosen. Not only Yuta, but Nami, Gion, Ian and all the women who have a copy of Rosen's diary are also curious about it. No wonder, after all, according to Rosen's diary records. Not so long ago, Rosen gained great strength by following Jiguo Yuan's template. Everyone involuntarily started playing the video uploaded by Rosen. The template of Yae Shenzi. Single quote. Rosen was going to give it to me. Single quote. He knows that I don't really want to be his partner. Single quote. Karina's eyes widened, and the breath that had just calmed down became chaotic again. After finally calming down her breathing, Karina was finally in the mood to start the skill demonstration of Yae Shenzi. In an instant, a gorgeous shrine appeared before Karina's eyes. And in the shrine, an extremely beautiful woman wearing a priestess costume and pink hair stood quietly. What a nice view. Karina's eyes widened, and she couldn't help but groan. Rosen shook his ears, but didn't say much to Karina's words. Rebirth, and then incarnate as Master 8. The demonstration video of Yae Shenzi was playing slowly. Chapter 15. The thunder power of the Son of God shocked the women. Flowers, month. 9 Snake Pirates. Hancock's room. Yae Miko. Light novels, that's not the case. Is this the Yae Shenzi? There is such an attractive woman in the world. No wonder that Rosen compares her to me. Hancock's eyes were fixed on the copy of the diary, and he sighed while watching Yae Miko's demonstration video. Even someone as proud as her would recognize the beauty of Yae Kamito. According to what Rosen said, the power of this Iyako seems to be comparable to mine. HMPH, I want to see what kind of power she has. Hancock snorted coldly, focusing more on the video presentation in front of him. The video screen continued, and the screen soon came to the place where Yae Shenzi was fighting. Gradually, Hancock's eyes widened. Several tall and intimidating samurai slashed at Yae Kamito with their knives. Closing square bracket. The extremely powerful slash even drove the wind and waves to cut the earth open. Closing square bracket. In the face of such a slash, Yae Kamiko has already flashed leisurely while lifting his steps lightly, and left Sakura shining with thunder on the spot. Closing square bracket. Killing Sakura bursts out lightning, and in conjunction with Yae Kamito's thunder waved from the weapon in his hand, instantly repelled the surrounding samurai. Closing square bracket. But soon, more samurai appeared and besieged Yae Kamito. Closing square bracket. Seeing this situation, Yae Shenzi raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and whispered, "The true pupil appears." The voice fell, and a purple brilliance flashed in the eyes of Yae Shenzi. Closing square bracket. At the same time, Lei Ming suddenly appeared. Closing square bracket. Boom! Huge lightning falls from the sky and falls straight to the ground. Closing square bracket. In an instant, a large number of warriors flew out backwards. Closing square bracket. The thunder light is so beautiful, Yae Shenzi said faintly with a smile. Closing square bracket. As the words of Yae Shenzi fell, the 3 killing Sakura left by her before were shattered, and in exchange for 3 huge thunderbolts falling from the sky again. Closing square bracket. In an instant, the samurai, who was still standing, was following in the footsteps of his companions. Closing square bracket. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. So powerful. If I really get this power. Hancock put his thumb to his lips, and began to estimate the power he might have after obtaining the Yae Kamito. It wasn't long before Hancock came up with an exaggerated answer. If I can really get all the power of the thunder of Yae Kamito, maybe it will be more convenient in many things. Hancock murmured, though she is confident in her devil fruit powers as well as Haki and others. But she also understands that her power is far inferior to existences such as Marine Admiral, Marine Hero, and 4 Emperors. For herself and for her daughter's country, she naturally wanted to obtain more powerful power. Since you have the idea of dedicating the template of Yae Shenzi to me, I will give you a chance. Rosen, I hope you will come before my concubine sooner. Being a concubine can reduce the punishment for being rude to me. Hancock murmured. Meanwhile, the people on Marine's side who have a copy of the diary are no less serious. Especially Momoshiki Gion on its way to East Blue. Really, the mighty power of thunder. Like the power of Logia thunder fruit. As the template of Yae Miko given to Rosen by the system. After others obtain the template of the Yae Shenzi, can they also grasp all the powers of the Yae Shenzi like Rosen obtained the template of Jiguo Yuan? How many character templates does he have? Gion looked serious. She understood that if Rosen's template could really allow others to grasp all the power of the template character in an instant. If Rosen had enough character templates, then Rosen will become an extremely terrifying existence in this world. After all, as it stands now, character templates are even more valuable than devil fruit. Rosen wants to give this template to other people. Could it be that he can't use this template? As the character template the same as devil fruit, one person can't have 2 templates. If Marine can have Rosen. As Gion spoke, the light in his eyes became brighter. If Rosen can hand over the redundant templates to Marine, Marine's power will definitely be stronger. Thinking of this, Gion can't wait to reach East Blue and Rosen's side immediately. It's a pity that the template of Eightfold Godson is not perfect. Closing square bracket. The person who gets the template does not get all the power of Yae Miko. Closing square bracket. Unless the person who obtains the template has extremely strong power and can carry the power of Yae Shenzi. Closing square bracket. Fortunately, those who get the template can get the talent of Yae Shenzi, even those who are not very strong can quickly become stronger. Closing square bracket. As long as you wait for a while, a partner who has obtained the template will be able to use the elemental burst skill, great secret method Tianyu Shenjun, that Yae Shenzi summons a huge thunder in the video. Closing square bracket. Let me think about who else to give the template to if not Karina. Closing square bracket. Wouldn't the person who obtained the template of Yae Shenzi inherit all the power of Yae Shenzi? It seems that Yae Miko's template is different from the template of Jiguo Yuan that Rosen obtained earlier. I don't know if this is the reason why Rosen is unwilling to inherit the template of Yae Miko. Gion rested his chin on one hand, thinking while talking to himself. Even if Ye Shenzi's template cannot allow the user to directly obtain her full power. But it's quite good to be able to give powerful talents and the possibility of using thunder. I don't know if I can fully utilize the power of Ye Shenzi if I obtain this template. Thinking of this, Guion couldn't help thinking about how to get the Ye Miko template from Rosen. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 16 Lucky Fruit Ability Carla's Ambition. Many girls who want to get a template. Grand Line, First Half. The world's largest sea entertainment city, Guilin Tezzolo. At this moment, Bar Carla, the guide on the Guilin Tezzolo, and Ting Yang, who is also one of the confidants of the Golden Emperor Tezzolo, a lucky fruit-capable user, is looking at a diary that cannot be seen by others. On the cover of the diary copy, the words, Rosen's Voyage Diary, Ba Carla copy, are clearly written. Is it the character template of Ye Shenzi? It is really beautiful and powerful. With such power, is Rosen going to take the initiative to hand it over to that Karina? However, it seems that Rosen has seen through her qualities and gave up the plan to give her the power of Ye Kamito. Ba Carla was sitting on a chair, sipping black tea and looking at the copy of the diary with a smile. As a member of the Guilin Tezzolo, Bar Carla paid special attention to the copy of the diary after Rosen mentioned that Karina would drive away the Guilin Tezzolo of the Golden Emperor in the future. She wanted to see if Rosen would reveal how Karina stole Gurin Tezzolo in the future. It's just that she didn't expect that she didn't wait for Rosen to spoil the future. But waiting for a Ye Shenzi template that is more precious than Devil Fruit. Devil Fruit should not conflict with Rosen's character template. It would be great if I could get the power of Ye Shenzi. Perhaps, even without relying on Tezzolo, I can have the highest quality of life in this world. Bar Carla stretched her body slightly, her eyes full of liking for the quality of life. For her, the reason why she took refuge in the Golden Emperor was entirely because the Golden Emperor could provide her with the glamorous life she wanted. She doesn't have much loyalty to the Golden Emperor. Not to mention, now she also learns that Karina will take Guilin Tezzolo away in the future. This made Bar Carla feel more about leaving the Golden Emperor. After all, if Karina can steal Guilin Tezzolo in the future, this can only explain what happened to the Golden Emperor in the future. And something happened to the Golden Emperor Tezzolo, so Tezzolo's subordinates like them might not be spared either. For her own safety, Carla naturally didn't want to stay with the Golden Emperor. Especially now that Karina has met Rosen. It would be nice if Karina didn't end up with Rosen's help. If Karina gets Rosen's help, whether it's power or Rosen will tell Karina about the future. All of this may give Karina a greater chance of taking away the entertainment city of the Golden Emperor Tezzoro. Just thinking of this, Bar Carla's desire to stay and work with the Golden Emperor continued to decrease. If it weren't for Rosen and Karina would be in East Blue now. The Golden Emperor's Guilin Tezzolo is in New World. Bar Carla is thinking about packing her bags and leaving now. East Blue, if I go now, is there a chance to get the power of Ye Miko from Rosen? However, the distance between East Blue and New World is too far. And Rosen could see that Karina didn't really want to be his partner. That is to say, cheating is useless to Rosen. If I didn't go there with enough sincerity, I must have seen him. He will not give me the template of Ye Shenzi or other templates. Carla muttered to herself. After seeing that there was no new content in the copy of the diary, she transferred her photo and notebook with great interest. It's really interesting drawing skills. That man Rosen should have made related photos and notebooks for many people in this world. It seems that he likes things between men and women very much. I don't know if he will be willing to sell templates like Ye Shenzi to me if she is allowed to do some things in the book. The corner of Carla's mouth was raised, and when her eyes glanced at the scene of herself dancing on Rosen in the book, she couldn't help but lick the corner of her mouth. Perhaps, you can give it a try and trade with the things described in this book. Rosen, a man like you will come to New World. With a little blush on her face, Carla said with a light smile. ... East Blue. Let me think about who else to give the template to if not Karina. Closing square bracket. Give it to me, Karina doesn't want this template, you can give it to me. Nami couldn't help standing up, and waved his little fist vigorously. As if in this way, my words can be passed to Rosen. If there is the power of Ye Shenzi, I don't need to keep saving 100 million berry to redeem Kokoja village. As long as I have the power of the Son of God, I will definitely be able to defeat Arlong and the others to save Kokoja village, and even avenge Belmel. Nami said this almost through gritted teeth. It can be seen that she hates the dragon pirates. That strong feeling of defeating the dragon pirates and avenging Belmel. It even made her temporarily ignore that the Ye Shenzi primary body template recorded in Rosen's diary cannot directly give the user all the power of the Ye Shenzi. No, you can't just watch like this. Since Rosen wants to find someone other than Karina to obtain the power of Ye Shenzi. Why can't this person be me? Be sure to find him before Rosen gives the power of Ye Kamito to others. Nami fixed her eyes, and immediately took out East Blue's nautical chart and began to calculate the possible positions of Rosen and Karina. She is different from Karina. If it is to redeem Kokoja village, she is willing to join Rosen sincerely. Since Rosen can detect whether a person really wants to join him, Nami thinks that Rosen must also be able to perceive her sincere desire to join. Not just Nami, at this moment, those ladies of the One Piece world who are facing difficulty expecting power after seeing Rosen intentionally looking for someone to inherit the power of Ye Kamito. He also had the idea of finding Rosen, joining Rosen, and finally gaining the power of Ye Shenzi. Princess Vivi who wants to save the country from danger. Princess Violet who wants to defeat Doflamingo. Rebecca who wants to avenge her mother. Kazuki Hiyori who wants to save Wano-kuni, and so on and so forth. Of course, it also includes Nami's step-sister Nuo Chigao who also saved Kokoja village. Chapter 17 Karina, weak, helpless and pitiful, the ability to see through clothing, seeking data. East Blue, on the pirate ship of the giant tiger pirates. The power of thunder, single quote, as long as I have the template of Ye Shenzi, can I master the power of thunder? Single quote. What a power! Single quote. With this power, I don't have to worry about being chased by treasure hunters anymore. Single quote. You don't have to worry about being caught by other pirates during the theft. Single quote. Moreover, the phantom-like teleportation of Ye Shenzi. Single quote. If I can have such a teleportation speed, I won't even be noticed by others when I steal. Single quote. When Karina thought of this, her breathing became a little short, and her full chest shook up and down with her breathing. Having said that, after seeing Rosen see through the diary content that she did not intend to join sincerely and wanted to give the Ye Shenzi template to others, Karina was suddenly surrounded by tension and regret. Could it be that I'm going to miss the treasure like this? Single quote. Karina pursed her lips and faced Rosen in front of her. She wanted to say something, but she was worried that she would say the wrong thing in front of Rosen who knew the past and future. As a result, Rosen's favorability towards her decreased even more. If Rosen's affection for her decreases again, Karina worries that Rosen will not just give her the power of Ye Kamito. What's more, Rosen may also stage a big drama with her that was staged in the book. Okay, thanks for the lap pillow, Karina. Suddenly, Rosen made a sound, stood up with his hands on the ground, and stretched leisurely. Captain Rosen, don't you take a break anymore. Seeing Rosen get up, Karina subconsciously patted her thigh. She wanted Rosen to stay, and then figured out a way to gain Rosen's trust and obtain the template of Ye Shenzi. I appreciate your kindness, Karina. I've almost had enough of lying down. Although I used the power of flames to evaporate the seawater that was contaminated when I swam in the sea. But there are still some grains of salt on my body. I'm going to have to take a hot shower and get a good cleanse. By the way, there should be clear water on this pirate ship. After speaking to Karina with a smile, Rosen turned around and walked towards the cabin. Captain Rosen, Karina stood up and held out her hand to Rosen. What's the matter, Karina? Could it be that you still want to serve me in the shower? Rosen turned around and asked Karina a question with great interest. Karina smiled shyly. She really wanted to say something about serving Rosen to take a bath. But after thinking of the fierce collision scene in the bathhouse in her notebook, her words got stuck in her throat and could not come out again. Hee, I'm not kidding anymore. The ship's sailing route will be left to you. I haven't had a good rest since I came to this sea. Now I need a good shower and a good night's sleep. Seeing Karina's slightly hesitant look, Rosen waved his hand and said, Really, Captain Rosen, I am a poor and helpless girl, how can I control this entire pirate ship? When Karina heard Rosen's words, she immediately put on an extremely aggrieved expression and said to Rosen, Hee, how could it be? I believe in your talent, Karina. Rosen smiled, and his figure quickly entered the entrance of the cabin and disappeared in front of Karina's eyes. Photo, poor little and helpless Karina. Closing square bracket. Haha, Karina actually said that she is just a weak woman, unable to control this small three-masted sailing ship. Closing square bracket. If I didn't know that she is a bandit who can run across East Blue by herself, I would really believe it. Closing square bracket. In terms of sailing skills, she should also be in the extremely excellent group. Closing square bracket. Managing such a small pirate ship is not easy. Closing square bracket. Oops. Was seen through by this guy again. Single quote. Karina, what are you doing? Single quote. Why are you so restless? Have you forgotten that Rosen might know everything about you? Single quote. Karina slapped herself on the forehead, secretly blaming herself for not being cautious enough. Speaking of Karina's hesitant appearance just now, I really thought that Karina really wanted to follow me to the bathhouse. Closing square bracket. Unfortunately, it seems that Karina is not as open as it was 2 years later. Closing square bracket. Forget it. If such a beautiful girl really entered the bathhouse with me, then I might have to drive, transparent world, to keep myself calm. Closing square bracket. In other words, the transparent world allows me to see through the surface of the human body to the inside, and see other people's muscle structure, internal organs, etc. Closing square bracket. If I control it a bit, I should be able to see through only the clothes that other people are wearing. Closing square bracket. In this way, wouldn't Karina be like a naked fruit in front of me? Closing square bracket. What? There is such an ability. Karina's eyes widened, her hands subconsciously protecting her body. Even now Rosen is no longer on deck. At the same time, many women in One Piece who had a copy of the diary also subconsciously made the same action as Karina. Kaya, how can I have such ability? No, I absolutely don't want to meet this man. Khalifa. Surname harassment. Yuda. Oops, won't I be seen through when I see him? Hina hates this ability. Ain. Sure enough, I still hope that Gion Vice Admiral will throw him into the submarine prison. Boa Hancock. See-through clothes, that is to say, can she directly see what's on my back? Nico Robin. Since I am a person who can draw those notebooks, I think I would like this ability very much. Gion. I see. It seems that transparent world has its unique advantages compared with observation hockey. Nami. This guy, it seems that after becoming his partner, he has to charge him a lot of money. After all, he may see my body anytime. Chapter 18. Karina wants to slip away and encounters the Black Cat pirates, seeking evaluation ticket. I took a bath, and simply ate something. Rosen found a room and had a good night's sleep. And this sleep directly brought the time to the evening. Seeing that Rosen hadn't continued to record in the diary for a long time, many women who had a copy of the diary went to busy with their own affairs accordingly. Only Karina is not going, and it is not going to go. Seeing that Rosen seemed to be in a deep sleep, she had the idea of leaving directly in the lifeboat. But he felt that if he left like this, he would completely miss the opportunity to obtain the power of the Ye Shenzi. This made Karina unable to make a decision for a long time. After a long time, Karina looked up at the full moon in the sky, feeling depressed. Hey, even if I stay, do I still have a chance to get the power of Ye Shenzi? Single quote. Since that man Rosen decided not to give it to me, I can't get this power either. Single quote. Even if you want to steal it, you can't find a way to steal it. Single quote. Karina shook her head and let out a long sigh. If the template of Ye Shenzi is a kind of real thing, Karina may also be able to achieve her goals in a stealthy way. Raid Rosen first, and then take the opportunity to take away the Ye Shenzi template. However, the fact is that Ye Miko's template does not seem to be real at all, and the template seems to be hidden in a place that Karina cannot see. In addition, Rosen knows Karina's character even more. Under such circumstances, even if Karina wanted to steal her heart from Rosen, she was powerless. Forget it, let's give up. Single quote. This business is simply impossible to do. Single quote. Karina pursed her lips, and took a deep look at the entrance of the cabin that seemed to be swallowed by darkness. Fearing that Rosen would punish her for lying, Karina chose to stay on the deck all day. Up to now, Karina's heart is only tired. Now, she just wants to get out of here quickly. Soon, Karina, who made a decision, lowered the lifeboat from the side of the pirate ship, and gradually left the pirate ship of the giant tiger pirates with a small amount of food and fresh water. The treasure of the giant tiger pirates, and the treasure that I was robbed by the giant tiger pirates belong to you. Rosen, you shouldn't leave without saying goodbye. Karina muttered to herself, and after taking another look at the pirate ship of the giant tiger pirates that was drifting away, she turned around and picked up the shipwright to slide it quickly. At this moment, what she didn't notice was, right after she disembarked, Rosen was already standing at the top of the sail, watching her leave with great interest. After a while, Karina suddenly stopped what she was doing, and stared in horror at the flames not far ahead. But soon, she breathed a sigh of relief. What? It's not Rosen's flame ability. Just a simple torch. Karina took a long breath, and carefully observed the torch-lit ship not far away. A pirate ship, and that flag, is the pirate ship of the Black Cat Pirates. I actually met them in this sea area. It's better not to approach them. I, too, really, cared too much that Rosen would catch up. Accidentally came to the capital so close to the Black Cat Pirates. You have to think about it afterward. As Karina said, she planned to quietly use the oars to keep her lifeboat away from the Black Cat Pirates. However, at this moment, a violent shock came from the lifeboat. The sudden shock almost didn't throw Karina out of the lifeboat. What's going on? Karina stabilized her body and yelled in a low voice in panic. Hee, since you're here, don't think about leaving so easily. Behind Karina, a slightly cunning male rough voice suddenly sounded. Karina was startled, subconsciously waved the paddle and threw it behind her. Click, there was a crisp sound. Karina was horrified to find that her oar was broken in two. How so? Karina raised her head tremblingly and looked at the somewhat familiar figure who smashed the oar with her fist. Long time no see, Karina. In front of Karina, a tall and fat man with a cat-shaped mask on his head said in a muffled voice. Okay, long time no see, Boogie. I didn't expect to see you here, what a coincidence. Karina twitched the corners of her mouth, revealing an extremely ugly smile. It is indeed a coincidence. Captain Zhangao will be very happy to know that you are here. Come on, I'll take you to meet Captain Zhangao. After speaking, Boog stretched out his hand to Karina. No need. It's so late, I won't bother you, ah. Before Karina could finish speaking, Boog jumped up to the pirate ship of the Black Cat Pirates with Karina's shoulders. It's over. Karina closed her eyes, recalling in her mind the experience that she lied about joining the Black Cat Pirates but ended up stealing the treasure of the Black Cat Pirates. At this moment, she seemed to be able to see the end of being praised as a high-ranking pirate. I shouldn't have left Rosen. Single quote. What should I do now? Single quote. Karina pursed her lips, almost crying. Even if she is as smart as her, it is difficult to think of a way to deal with the Black Cat Pirates who have been deceived by her once. At this time, what Karina didn't notice was Rosen's sailing diary, which had been silent for more than 10 hours, had new content again. Rosen's voyage diary. Sea Circle Calendar June 16, 1520. At night, the moon and stars are scarce. Closing square bracket. Photo. Karina captured by the Black Cat pirates. Closing square bracket. Chapter 19 The Consequences of Lying in East Blue's Kaya. East Blue. West Rob Village. Miss, it's time to rest. Staying up late is bad for your health. Even if you are learning medical skills, you should progress gradually. The butler, Clarabart, was wearing a black suit, standing straight in front of Kaya who was sitting on the sofa. It's all right, Clarabart. Wait a little longer, and I'll go to rest. Kaya, with short shoulder-length hair in gold, wearing a plain long dress and an orange coat, smiled gently at Clarabart. In that case, I'll just stay aside. If you need anything, please tell me. Clarabart nodded, turned and walked to the window, standing still like a statue. Seeing this, Kaya smiled slightly, feeling so at ease. In her heart, Clarabart was worried that she would fall and get hurt, so he stood by and guarded her. After all, her body is too weak. Thinking that Clarabart cared about her so much, but she couldn't tell the story about the copy of the diary, but could only lie to Clarabart, Kaya felt a pang of apology. Sorry Clarabart, I can't say anything about the copy of the diary. Single quote. But if it's you, you must be able to understand it. Single quote. After Kaya took a deep look at Clarabart, she turned her head and looked at the Chinese medicine book in her hand. However, Kaya is reading medical books on the surface, but she is actually waiting for Rosen's voyage diary, which may come. Rosen, who knows the past and the future, knows many things in this world. Single quote. He must also know the many islands in this world, and the different humanities and customs. Single quote. Perhaps he will also record the customs of different islands in the future. Single quote. It's pretty good to be able to see different places through Rosen's voyage diary. Single quote. Thinking of this, Kaya felt an inexplicable expectation in her heart. She was unable to leave her hometown because she was weak and sick. There is no way to even leave the villa, run and play like other normal people. She has always felt quite bored. Although Usopp often comes here to tell her stories, stories are stories after all. Kaya certainly wants to know the real world, if she can. Now that she has the opportunity to learn about the outside world through Rosen's voyage diary, Kaya is naturally not far from giving up. Even though Rosen records some blush and heartbeat words from time to time. It would be better if Rosen didn't say those things and draw those weird comic strips. Single quote. Really, how can you draw such a picture without my consent? Single quote. Kaya thought of the picture in the book, and her whole face immediately turned red like an apple. Kaya spat secretly, and opened Rosen's voyage diary. Kaya copy again. There is new content. Single quote. This is a photo of Karina being captured by the Black Cat pirates. Single quote. What's the matter? Isn't Rosen very powerful? How could Karina be caught by her side? Single quote. The kind-hearted Kaya saw the panicked expression on Karina's face when she was caught by the Black Cat pirates Bougie in the photo, and her mood instantly became tense, and she quickly focused on the new content that was constantly emerging on the copy of the diary. Sure enough, a thief is a thief after all. Anyone who wants to join me is a lie. Closing square bracket. Yes, retribution is coming. Closing square bracket. Not long after going to sea, he was caught by the Black Cat pirates. Closing square bracket. Tisk tisk tisk, and the Black Cat pirates know Karina. This woman, she lied to the Black Cat pirates before. Closing square bracket. In such a situation, even if she is as smart as her, it will be difficult to escape with her own strength. Closing square bracket. In other words, Karina should not be directly put into a wooden barrel by the Black Cat pirates, and then sank to the bottom of the sea. Closing square bracket. Karina left Rosen. Single quote. How so? Single quote. Also, Karina is about to be sunk to the bottom of the sea. Single quote. How come? Single quote. But please don't worry. Single quote. At this moment, Kaya began to tremble nervously. Although Karina is a thief, Rosen has plans to become a pirate. But at the end of the day, Kaya didn't see Karina and Rosen do anything outrageous. Although Rosen has killed people, he only killed the pirates of the giant tiger pirates. And since Kaya got the copy of the diary, she gradually regarded Rosen and Karina as the hero and heroine in the story respectively. Under such circumstances, she naturally didn't want anything to happen to either Rosen or Karina. "Miss Kaya, is it too cold? How about I close the window?" At this moment, Krabart suddenly spoke to Kaya. "No, it's okay, I'm not shivering because of the cold. Anyway, Krabart, I'm all right." Kaya shook her head at Krabart, took a deep breath and focused on the copy of the diary again. In Krabart's eyes, Kaya just focused on medical books. It's useless to read as many medical books as possible. Single quote. "It won't be long before all your wealth will be mine." Single quote. "And you can also meet the parents you have missed for a long time." Single quote. Krabart snorted coldly in his heart, and once again stood upright by the window. Chapter 20 Exposure, the Axe King who can injure Garp, seeking data. Gulen Tezzolo. This Karina, did she choose to escape? Hehe, do you feel that I have no hope of getting the template of Ye Shenzi from Rosen? It's a wise move. Having said that, if this woman is really planted here, there will be no incident of her stealing the Gulen Tezzolo in the future. Perhaps this can be regarded as changing the future. And the key factor that will change the future is you, the time traveler, Rosen. Barbara Carla just came back from the shower. She wore a white bathrobe, and she didn't even dry her hair. However, after noticing the new content on the copy of the diary, she couldn't care less about those. After realizing that Rosen's presence might change what happened in the future, she was all excited. Similarly, Nico Robin, Guion, Hina, Charlotte Smoothie, Vince Moke Reju and other smart people also thought of this, and they also paid special attention to what might appear on the copy of the diary next. Speaking of the Black Cat Pirates, this reminds me of the beautiful and innocent Miss Kaya. Closing square bracket. Kaya couldn't help exclaiming when she saw the new content in the diary. Then she realized that Krabart was still not far away, and quickly shook her head, expressing that it was nothing. "Why did Rosen mention me? I have nothing to do with the Black Cat Pirates, right?" Single quote. "Wait, does it mean that my future is related to the Black Cat Pirates?" Single quote. Kaya couldn't help becoming nervous when she thought that she might encounter the vicious Black Cat Pirates. Her heart was full of doubts. Fortunately, Rosen did not stop the pen of diary. Soon, things about the Black Cat Pirates and Kaya surfaced in the diary. Although the current captain of the Black Cat Pirates is Zhang Gao, that is only on the surface. Closing square bracket. The Black Cat Pirates, after all, are still in the hands of that Captain Crow. Closing square bracket. This guy is also okay. Tired of being a pirate, he uses Zango's hypnosis technique to hypnosis a marine, making that marine think he has captured Crow. Closing square bracket. Actually, that Captain Crow is just a fake arranged by the real Captain Crow. Closing square bracket. Who would have thought that a marine recruit who was obviously nothing special would end up becoming a marine colonel because of such a fake Captain Crow. Closing square bracket. Speaking of which, the former marine and the future Axe King can be regarded as being trained by Captain Crow. Closing square bracket. Would love to see the one who cut Garp and left him bleeding. Closing square bracket. At the end, Mr. Axe slipped out of Garp's hands. Closing square bracket. Tisk tisk, the title of Axe Emperor is well deserved. Closing square bracket. What, Garp will be cut and bleed in the future? Guion's beautiful eyes were wide open. She was working at the desk and even accidentally crushed the quill in her hand because she was too surprised. How could such a thing happen? That's marine hero Garp. The Emperor Axe. I've never heard of such a character. And according to what Rosen said, this King Axe was also a marine. Guion frowned tightly. Marine hero Garp getting cut is no small matter. With Garp's power, people who can injure him and escape from him, Guion can only think of people like the four emperors. And it is such a character who has served or is currently serving in Marine. This surprised Guion even more. An obscure Marine who cut Vice Admiral Garp and ran away. Such a guy must not be underestimated. Axe King, that is to say, this Marine is a person who uses an axe. Guion's mind was spinning, thinking about the character in Marine who wields an axe. But after much deliberation, Guion couldn't think of anyone among them who could injure Garp. Rosen, can't you just be a little more straightforward? Guion sighed, looking at the diary with a trace of resentment in his eyes. Her sleepiness, which was not very strong at all, disappeared in an instant. Hina, Aang, and other Marines also have similar emotions to Guion at this moment. Not just Marine. Among the pirates, Charlotte Smoothie, Runty and others also remembered the title of Axe King in an instant, and secretly wondered what kind of character this Axe King should be. Off topic, how did I go to that, Axe Emperor? Closing square bracket. Let's talk about the grievances between the lovely Miss Kaya and the Black Cat Pirates. Closing square bracket. Seeing such content, Kaya immediately became serious. Speaking of which, that Captain Crow is really good enough. Closing square bracket. Obviously he has such a smart head, his intelligence can be said to be only a little lower than Ben Beckman's. Closing square bracket. However, this guy's way of retiring turned out to be to find a double to replace him and get caught by Marine. Closing square bracket. Then he went to a rich businessman's house to change his name and spent 3 years gaining the trust of the rich businessman. Closing square bracket. Finally, in order to legally inherit the wealth of the rich businessman, they even summoned members of the Black Cat Pirates to go to the rich businessman's house to act out a scene in which the pirates force Kaya to give up her wealth and pass it on to herself reasonably. Closing square bracket. Tisk tisk, either this guy doesn't have such high intelligence, or his head was caught by the door. Closing square bracket. With such a smart mind, 3 years is enough to start from scratch and make a lot of money. Closing square bracket. Is my lovely Miss Kaya's family richer than I thought? Closing square bracket. This is fake, right? Single quote. Seeing this, Kaya's eyes widened involuntarily. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.